But Jamaica Brew, basically, the way we designed it the last 2 years was that we would have groups of writers that had something in common together. And I gave them the option of either performing their work or of being on a panel where they discussed their work and had an opportunity to read it there as well. So usually we found the poets tended to want to perform their work, where the novelists tended to want to be on a panel and discuss. And in those panels we found some sort of unifying theme that they could talk about. So those were excellent. And then, of course, there was the opportunity. They all had a table where they could sell their books.
Book publishing has many paths, and just figuring out where to go at each stage can be confusing. But with insights and guidance from author experts just like us, you can tackle the writing process competently and be assured that the goal of being a published author is within reach. Welcome to the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit, the place for Caribbean authors to shine. With each staging of our summit, leading Caribbean author experts at home and in the diaspora share their stories and strategies to win with books beyond book sales. In the process, aspiring and published authors are inspired and lives are transformed. The Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit will ensure that fewer books die in the minds of their authors, more manuscripts become published legacies, and precious lives are transformed with the turn of each page. Today I have with me Dale MahFood. He is an author and a co-founder of the Jamaica Brew Festival. He was born in Kingston, Jamaica, to parents whose roots run deep into the island's past. He has lived in London, England, and also in the U.S. Eastern Seaboard from New England to Florida, where he earned a master's degree in English education from Florida International University. These experiences, combined with his career in education, have developed his passion for writing and diverse peoples and places. In 2022, he published his first novel, When Trees Fall, which is book 1 of the Wood and Water series. And he's currently working on book 2, Up from Mountains. They lives in Florida with his wife, Janet. And together, they also offer publishing services. His wife specializes in developmental editing. And Dale will be sharing in the final session of the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit on Saturday, January 31 at 7 p.m. We will be talking about book festivals, why these should matter to authors, how we prepare for them. It is an honor to have him. Now, talk to us a little bit about your writing journey before we get into the festival bit. I know you're also on Substack, so share a little bit about that as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. From I was younger, not probably in my teens, I've written a little poetry. I actually became a Christian in my later teens and found myself writing short worship type choruses and enjoyed doing that. Although I'm not a musician. I would just make the tunes up in my head. And then when I went back to school to get my master's in English education, I began writing poetry and a short story and just really just loving that. And the more I taught English literature in school, the more I wanted to write. It must have been around 2009. My was sitting around the dinner table with my wife and family and my mother, and she has always told us stories about growing up in Jamaica, in Westmoreland, and in the countryside, and her father being a very bad man. So just one evening, I said to them, you know what? I'm going to write a novel about this. Now, I've never written a novel, but so everybody was like, do it, you need to do it. So that took me about 13 years because I only wrote during the summertime. I found it hard to write in the school year. I'm trying to change that right now. And, all the research and everything. And it was a great experience. During that time, my mother, I encouraged her to write narrative poems about her life, and she did that, and I was able to publish her narrative poetry book right here. It's in some ways it's almost kind of like a complementary book to my novel. It kind of works very well together, yeah. So, and then a couple of years after, I did publish my own book. I created my own imprint, and yeah, just trying to make it the best I can. Right now, I am writing the second novel, as you said, Up from Mountains, and I decided to serialize it on Substack as I write a scene or a chapter, depending on the length. I post it try to post once a week and try to get feedback. I'm getting some fantastic feedback from readers that are, pointing things out or saying, "Hey, what about this?" Or "I think you might have missed that here." Or it's fantastic. So I try to put on the most polished first draft that I can because Substack likes polished writing. And yeah, and so that's what's happening there with the hope of course, building my readership that way as well. And who knows, even though I am self-publishing, but you never know, a traditional publisher comes across it on Substack, and this has happened before, and they want to offer me a deal that's worth it. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome sauce. Can you tell us the name of your mom's book for readers who want to check it out?
My mother's book is, well, her name is Dorothy MahFood, and it's A Simple Smile, and it's based on the poem itself. A Simple Smile is based on her mother and everything like I said, her father was a bad man, so everything she had to endure for the sake of her children and wear that simple smile.
Love it. All right. So, Dale, talk to us about the Jamaica Brew Festival. This year is going to be on the 31st of
Yeah.
January,
Yeah.
same day as the day you'll be appearing at the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit. What was the thinking behind the Jamaica Brew Festival?
So the person who really came up with the idea was Consul General Oliver Mayer, who is the Consul General for Jamaica in the Southeast United States. He's a fantastic CG. I don't think there's one better, and I'm sure there are a lot of great ones. But he had been involved in the arts, in theater, and he has a heart for people who artists. So he had had this idea to start something like this that is both literary and film based. And one day, I'm trying to promote my book, and I'm a new author doing whatever I can do, and I see this man on social media taking picture with this person. I said, but I want that too. So I faced it, and I got his number, and I called him up, and he said, okay, come on over. And we took a picture with it together, and then just talking to him, discovered that he had this idea for a festival, and I said, well, let's do it. Little did I know how much that was going to be for me, because you have ideas, but you don't realize how much time and effort it takes. So he actually encouraged me to go to the Calabash Festival in Treasure Beach, and that year, so I did, and we got back together and we planned it. And so the idea is to offer a space where both established authors and poets and filmmakers can showcase their work, but also leave room for emerging writers and filmmakers to do their work as well. We know you. I invited you last year because we had a panel with you, the famous Ruth C. Taylor, and also the famous Ian Randall, to talk about traditional publishing, self-publishing, the kind of hybrid between those two things. I know you couldn't make it, but your video was excellent, and it really helped to to show people in the audience that there were so many options that we have, and we just have to decide which one suits us. So the craft and the business of writing as well.
Oh, awesome sauce. And yes, I really wanted to be in Florida, but I fell ill. And so I'm grateful that I still could have played a part there. Now, so we get the understanding. So it's a space where both established writers and filmmakers can interact. But what really happens? Talk to us about what really happens at Jamaica Brew and then at other festivals.
All right, let's start with Jamaica Brew. Well, I will say that the Brooklyn one, I wish I could have gone. I wasn't able to, but they did contact me because they know that I am always promoting other authors in any way I can, and so they asked me if I would partner with them and be one of their promoters. So that's what happens there. But God willing, if possibly this year, I may or may not be able to go. But Jamaica Brew, basically, what the way we designed it the last 2 years was that we would have groups of writers that had something in common together. And I gave them the option of either performing their work or of being on a panel where they discussed their work and had an opportunity to read it there as well. So usually we found the poets tended to want to perform their work, where the novelists tended to want to be on a panel and discuss. And in those panels we found some sort of unifying theme that they could talk about. So those were excellent. And then, of course, there was the opportunity. They all had a table where they could sell their books. We had an open mic because at Calabash there's an open mic, and uh, Miss Oliver Mayer wanted there to be an open mic, which I think is a great thing. So we did that, and then we there was music. There was a Mento band here in South Florida, and they play and sing. And then both the last two ones we did, we honored one writer that lives in South Florida who is exceptional. So we honored Kai Miller, who now lives here
Mhm.
and
I saw
teaches at the
that.
University of Miami. And then we honored Dr. Asa Ware Soley, who is a poet, and she teaches at Florida International. So yeah, so that was that. And then I have been to Calabash. Calabash is a great experience if you live in Jamaica or even if you live anywhere. I mean, it's just an incredible experience. God willing, things were bad at Treasure Beach this year because of Melissa, but I think they're going to be able to pull it together, and they have it every 2 years. So the next one should be 2007. It's usually at the end of May, and that's just fun. That's nothing but fun. The people who speak there,
They're well known.
they're well known, exactly. And then the wonderful thing is they do leave a couple times open where there is a open mic, which I have to tell you, I was determined I was going to get to. And so I did. I actually got to read from my now. Actually, I read a poem because it's a long story. But yeah, that was a great opportunity. Then I have been to the Miami Book Fair, uh,
Yes.
another great festival, really good festival. It's like an 8-day festival, but the real thing happens on a Saturday and a Sunday towards the end of November. I'd been to it one or two times, and then I know somebody who runs what's called Read Caribbean. It's the Caribbean section of that where they have a lot of panels and readings and so on. And I sent her my novel because again I'm feisty, okay? And I have to tell you, and you probably have told your people this already, but your novel is not just a book to read; it's a ticket to
Yes.
open doors. And
Book
that's what,
open doors.
while my novel has not sold a lot, and over and over, I've listened to 100 million um, publishing podcasts, and they say your first novel will probably not sell very much, but your first novel will help your second novel to sell. And that's fine because for me, I've used this as a ticket to open doors for me. I sent her my book. I don't even think I asked her to be in the festival because I let her draw her own conclusion. She invited me. So I got to speak on a panel with Saphir Sinclair, She wrote her memoir, How to Say Babylon. Great, really good memoir. And then I was with Jeffrey Philp as well. He's a Jamaican poet and author. That was a great experience. And then since then, I continue to go. I was there this year. My wife, myself, there was somebody who I had met over in Instagram that she said she was going to be there. I said, let's meet up. Was able to give her a copy of my book. She runs a book club. And then there's another lady who runs Caribbean Book Club. Her name is Glenda Jacks, and
Mhm.
she had me recently on Caribbean Book Club. So we met up. It was like a party. We had a wonderful time. We met
Mhm.
another Trini guy. We met two Trini, a Trini guy and a Trini girl, lady. We also my friend Linda Edwards. She came from down from Orlando, and we went there together. And then it was just a great time. I met Marlon James. Somebody said to me, "That's Marlon." Glenda said, "That's Marlon James." I said, "You're kidding." And I'm feisty. So I went up to him, and we ended up having a wonderful talk.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's a big guy, big guy, really nice. So, just that's one of the benefits of going is yes, you learn stuff. As a matter of fact, I went to a session on reggae, one American, one British, but these two guys know more about reggae than just about anybody. And a guy had written, one of the guys had written a really thick book, and I got this card because in one of my next novels, it's going to deal with the reggae scene. And when I'm ready, guess who I'm calling for information? So just a lot of, you have to put yourself out there. You can't just go to a festival and be like a little mouse. You have to put yourself out there as uncomfortable as it might be for you, because that's how you make great connections. So yeah, I didn't get to go, but I was also invited to the Brooklyn Book Festival a couple of years ago, but it just didn't work out for me to go. Yeah, I'm all in favor of book fairs and going and making those connections, whether you are speaking or not, by the way, because I think a lot of authors, I'm not going to go unless I'm the speaker.
Oh,
No, you have to start somewhere, you know? You have to start somewhere.
Wow. Oh, that's a lot. So your book will open doors, and going to the festivals is a good way to build connections. And depending on the festival, you may just run into some well-known, prize-winning authors. I don't think you're feisty. I would say you're assertive and bold. So fortune favors the bold. And I like that thread. In the Caribbean, there are a couple festivals or even conferences for authors that maybe some of our authors are not aware of. There is the Jamaica Book Festival that started 2 years ago with, I think it's Latoya West Blackwood. And that has been going well. There is the AFW Lit Fest in Montserrat. My friend
Mm.
Nerissa Golden, she is the one who is one of the organizers of that. I was able to speak virtually at the AFW Lit Fest a couple years back during COVID. There's a young man out of Trinidad, Daniel Francis. Yes, he has Caribbean author village and the conference, and he's running that at the Jamaica Book Festival. We also had, when I went in this inaugural year, they had like an industry day, and they spoke about some of the ins and outs of the publishing industry, and also had a session on financing. Now, Calabash is one of the premier ones, and it attracts some of the well-known actors and creatives. I think the year you went, Angelina Jolie was also there.
We
Did you get a
did. I,
picture with her?
I did not, but she was hanging out with Muta Baruka.
Okay.
Yes, man, they were key. That's actually where I met Kai Miller. Again, I was very feisty, almost to a point I had to apologize to him later. I said, "Sorry, I was like tracking you down." So
So you
yeah,
have to be bold. So for introverts like myself, or people who are even more introverted, and many authors are, is it still worth going?
absolutely. You and I both listened to Joanna Penn, and she is an introvert. I have no idea you were an introvert, and I had no idea she was, but both of you claim to be. And she
Yes.
talks about, that it really drains her by the time it's over and she has to come home and recuperate. But it's worth it because of all the connections you make. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. And like, let's get back to the Jamaica Book Festival a little bit. I know there are other festivals, which I will ask you to list, international ones. So maybe if you can give me your top five international ones, because you have a long list,
I
so that authors can begin to dream. I remember years ago when I was working with the late Delana Franklin, he said one of his dreams was to actually go to an international book fair. So it seemed to be a thing. Are these festivals paid, or can you just turn up? And what if I want to set up an author table? What's the procedure like?
All right. So, for instance, I know at Calabash and uh, Jamaica Brew Festival, there's no charge, and that's one of the things that Oliver Mayer wanted to do was make it free of charge to everybody. Um, some of the fairs you're going to have to pay an entrance fee to. I have not gone to one that. No, no, that's not true. Um, Miami Book Fair, even, everybody has to pay to get into that day. And of course, you would have to be invited to speak. You could, depending on the festival, like Miami Book Fair, you pay all $500 for like a half a table. And that's not something, at least at my point, that I'm willing to do. It wouldn't be worth it to me. I had a friend who did it and he said he wouldn't do it again. It just wasn't feasible. So depending on the festival, you can get a table. Some may make you pay, some may not make you pay. You basically what you do is you have to do some investigation, call
Mm-hmm.
call somebody in charge and find out what you need to do. I did want to add about the Boca's Lit Festival because, of course, that's
Yes.
probably I would say the well, no, Calabash internationally probably rates above because it's so well known internationally. But the Boca's Lit Fest in Trinidad, that's huge, and I have not been yet. I did the year I wrote my book. I did enter it into the competition they have there. I forget exactly what the name of the competition is, but I sent my books down there. It actually was kind of expensive to send them down there, but just took a chance. Nothing really came of it, but maybe a few people will recognize my name in the future, and something will come of that. You know.
Yes.
So
Yeah. My friend Dr. Sharma Taylor, I think she often goes to Vocalist Festival and has won some award. I know she has presented there before, and she's traditionally published. Okay, so some of these you may need to pay, some of them you may not need to pay. So you have to do your investigation, and it's a place to meet other authors, make great connections. Could, for example, like the London Book Festival and the Frankfurt Book Festival, are those places too where you could pick up deals, find publishers uh, as well? I think Frankfurt and London Book Festival tend to lend themselves to that kind of thing. Would you agree with that?
yes, because a lot of publishers go there. So and also there usually are opportunities with different publishers to they open the door to I guess I don't know what else to call it, but to speed date with them. You just have to bring your book and you give your little pitch and see what they have to say. So there are some opportunities to do things like that in those bigger festivals. Yes, again, I've not reached that stage, but you never know.
We
Yeah,
can dream. I was invited to the London Book Festival, but I haven't had a chance to take it up yet. When I got the invitation, I actually reached out to a member of the Alliance of Independent Authors. I was like, Michael, is this for real? Is this legit? Am I really being invited to the London Book Festival? And he said,
that's
this looks
incredible.
legit. But
Congratulations.
thank you. But the cost and everything,
Yeah,
going to England is not easy. And I wouldn't just want to go for the London Book Festival. I would want to go and visit my sister and my niece and catch up and maybe make it a trip, if Joanna is there and the whole allied team, just, make it something like that. But as we bring this conversation to a close, Dale, in your top 10, what would be your top 10 in terms of book festivals that Caribbean people should look forward to attending, whether within the Caribbean or outside? If they
right,
have a
right.
bucket list of book festivals, what would be your bucket list? Top
All
10.
right, so I have basically about 11 here, so I'll mention them. And you had mentioned one that you're gonna have to tell me about later. But of course, I'd like to go to the Bocas Lit Fest.
Mhm.
Absolutely, that would be a great experience. My book fair I already go to. Um, Black British Book Festival. That's
Uh-huh.
something that would be an excellent thing, particularly for Caribbean people in general to go to because of the influence that Caribbean people have and many, many Jamaicans have had in Britain, and they're well represented in that book festival. Calabash. An interesting one, not that I never necessarily wanted to go, but maybe some of your audience might be interested in if they speak or write in Spanish, is the Havana International Book Fair. Apparently, that is quite prestigious as well. So that's one. Another one I definitely would like to go to is the Brooklyn Caribbean Literary Festival. It's a little, I think it's a little smaller and more intimate, but it really sounds like a great group of people. And of course, being in New York, you have to stay a couple extra days for that to enjoy that. And it's in September, so the weather is good, you know.
Right.
You mentioned the Jamaica Book Festival, which I just really found out about recently, so that would be really interesting. Of course, the London, like you mentioned, London Book Festival, Frankfurt, but I think those are ones not to where you start. I don't think those are ones maybe where you graduate to, and I haven't graduated there yet. Maybe one day I will. But then I did. There are two other literary festivals that I had heard about. The Nature Island Literary Festival and Book Fair in Dominica, and it's more of a grassroots type thing where they have workshops and readings. It sounds like a nice one. The Virgin Islands Literary Festival and Book Fair. I believe you know who told me about it. Charmaine Wilkinson. She wrote
Ah,
Black Dirt and no Black Cake and Good Dirt. I was fortunate to actually have coffee with her in Rome this year. It was so cool. But the amazing thing to me, I don't know how she got a hold of my book, but she did. She loved it. She said she recommended me to the Virgin Island Literary Festival, which it didn't happen, but just the fact that Charmaine Wilkinson would that was like a blow away for me, you know.
yes.
And then the other one I'll mention is, and really this is for advanced and authors who really want to make a business out of their writing. Author Nation that happens in Las Vegas every year. It's a big conference. Our friend Joanna Penn goes there. One of these days, I definitely want to make it there as well. But again, you have to have a real business mindset. I'm in this to make lots of, or maybe not lots of money, but a decent amount of money because that also is going to be an investment, both to pay the registration fee and to the flight there, the hotel rooms, the whole thing. But So think of that more as like a kind of like the London Book Fair and Frankfurt, kind of a step up a little later on in your writing career.
Very good, very good. And there are quite a number of them. So if you are thinking about going to book festivals, you want to make great connections and tap into the diaspora, these are some of the festivals. And thank you, Dale, so much for exposing us to the world of book festivals and giving us your personal experience. And of course, for persons who want to know more, we invite you to come on out to the final night of the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit, where Dale will be present and you can ask your questions and we will talk some more about book festivals and the benefits of these. Thanks again for coming, Dale.
Excellent. Thank you. It's my pleasure to always talk with you. You're wonderful.
So if you have some time on the last Saturday of January, if you're not tuning in to the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit and you want to attend a book festival in person, I want to encourage you to attend the third annual Jamaica Brew Festival. There will be literary readings, short films, and coffee. There's also going to be a Ring Ding Children's Corner. And it's again Saturday, January 31, 2026. My friend Dale will be there. I see one of our authors, Nadine Brady Taylor. That's the award-winning children's author. And that's the book Donkey Say. And she'll be there. It's going to be at the Southwest Regional Library. And you can go to jamaicabrewfestival.com for more information. And don't forget to register for the Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit. That's the 2-day free virtual summit to empower Caribbean authors to win with books beyond book sales. And I'm hosting that. It is the 6th staging, and that's Friday to Saturday, January 30 to 31, 2026, online on the Authorpreneur Secrets YouTube channel at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. daily. And we're focusing on future ready authors writing, publishing, and thriving in the age of AI. And our full suite of presenters and hosts, we have Dale MahFood, the king among the queens, Dr. Francina Price, Janet Morgan, Phyllis Thomas, Dr. Zoe Simpson, Natalia Downer, Delia Plunkett, myself as host, Daphne Ellis, and Raquel Newman as the co-host. We launched last year the Legacy Publishing Prize and the Youth Publishing Prize. And we're going to tell you who the winners are and what their books look like, as well as introduce you to this year's Small Book Big Impact winner, Dr. Francina Price, who wrote 4 books during that challenge. And it just promises to be a great time. And of course, Dale will be back so that we can make our bucket list of book festivals that we can attend as we seek to build connections with other authors in the diaspora and see what doors books can open for us. Now, when you go to the summit page, you can go to authorpreneursecrets.com and you will see Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. I invite you to register to access the free Authorpreneur Secrets 101 course. That's a 1-hour masterclass that will help you to understand entrepreneurship and put a plan together to earn your first or next 1,000 US dollars with your book without selling mass copies. So don't forget to go register for that. And finally, if you want to connect with Dale, whether to invite him to speak or you want to learn more about book festivals or get his books, I want to encourage you to go to dalemahfood.com and you can check out his resources there, or you can find him on Instagram as well, or join his Substack. And so everything is there on the website, and you can check out his publishing services, and his bio, his books are all there. You can get 5 free chapters of When Trees Fall when you go to his website, and then join his Substack, where he is releasing his second novel, Up From Mountains, bit by bit. And you can, in a sense, become like a beta reader when you join his Substack list. So that's it for today's show. All right, that's it for today. Just reminding you that of the making of books, there is no end. Go pen it to win it and dominate entrepreneurship. Ta for now, until next time.